don't know if you guys can see my shirt, but
He got everybody here. He got Maya Angelou, Thurgood Marshall, uh,
Michelle Obama,
Michelle Obama,
Nelson Mandela,
Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King,
W.E.B.
Muhammad
Du Bois,
Ali,
Angela Davis,
Rosa Parks, Huey Newton.
Sojourner Truth. Shout out to Brad Brother Huey Newton. You know, I would love to have heard Angela Davis speak. I would have loved that.
Yeah.
As long as you keep your head to the sky, you can win. As long as you keep your head to the sky, be optimistic.
Be optimistic.
You can win.
You can win.
As long as you keep your head
to the sky. Be optimistic.
You can win. As long as you keep your head to the sky. Be optimistic.
Hey, I know this your song, but we gotta get the episode started.
Yeah, because the people been waiting for us about a month and a half. So
a month and a half.
Okay, maybe a month.
A month. Okay, maybe it has been a month.
Yo, y'all, what's up? Welcome back to the You Stuck With Me podcast.
You stuck with me.
It's your boy Marquis.
And this is your one and only, your favorite Taylor.
And we're back for the start of season 5, y'all.
Hey, we told you we was gonna come back.
Come back like cook crack. Oh, I can't say that after we had the nerves.
No, we don't do that.
We don't do that?
No.
Not even for the... We can't... I can't get the...
Oh,
no.
Lord. He started scratching.
It's just a little bit. No? No, we're not going to let it ride?
Don't.
Okay. So, yeah, we came back, and we back at a good time for 2 reasons. 1, because Valentine's Day is almost here, and 2, because it is Black History Month.
Yep.
I'm excited about Black History Month because in our house, every day is Black History.
You know, I always like the correlation of Valentine's Day and Black History Month because it just makes me love Black history.
Remember, y'all, Black history is history.
And to me personally, I think it should be more than a month, but that's a different topic.
I mean, yeah, we have that for another day. But can we talk about your shirt though?
Because yes, let's talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about it. You want to read it for the people?
Those that don't got it can't show it. Those that got it can't hide it. Sora Zora Neale Hurston.
First of all, if you don't know who Zora Neale Hurston is, I advise y'all to go on Google, go to your local library, and read some of her work. Okay? Mm-hmm. My favorite body of work of hers is Their Eyes Were Watching God.
That was always a good one, favorite of mine as well.
Yes, and what really made me fall in love with it was the TV movie adaptation of it with Halle Berry and Michael Ealy.
I think there was also one with Felicia Rashad and P. Diddy.
That's Raisin in the Sun.
Oh, that's Raisin in the Sun.
Yes,
okay.
That's Raisin, which is a good one too. Mm-hmm. But Their Eyes Were Watching God, to give y'all a synopsis, so basically it's a young woman named Janie. She's like, well, first of all, let me backtrack. It's not really any traumatic stuff in it. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. And basically she's a young woman who's, in the search of love. So she got married off when she was young to this one black guy who turned out to be a mayor of his own city. As he got older, he started, being a little mean. Excuse me. He started to be a little mean, and once you get older, you start to get set in your ways. So he passed on, which means everything that he had was left to her. Mm-hmm. But she wasn't into the material stuff and everything like that. And so I think when he passed, she was like in her 40s. Mm-hmm. So she's a 4-year-old woman, and she's going out living her life and stuff. And then the townspeople are like, "Oh, she just being a Jezebel. She doing too much, whatever." And then she comes across this young guy named Tea Cake.
Mm-hmm. I remember Tea
Cake.
Yeah,
now you remember Tea Cake, right? So her and Tea Cake get together. Unfortunately, Tea Cake died. But he just was that burst of energy for her that said, life is too short to be complacent.
Agreed.
So
I think that's probably one of the biggest lessons from that you could take.
Yes. And also I like the fact, too, that it just shows a prominent black man, starting from the ground up, grassroots, and to create his own metropolis, in a sense. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I definitely like that because, with everything that's been going on the past few years, us as African Americans, we've been getting a lot of flack for things that shouldn't have happened. We got technical difficulty, y'all. We'll be right back with y'all. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Okay.
But Black history is definitely important because there are a lot of things that a lot of us as people in the world don't know. Like I just recently, throughout this break, I found out that there were two brothers who took flight. They were ahead of the Wright brothers and learning how to fly and things like that. I can't remember their name.
Was it the Cray brother? No, it wasn't Cray. Cause I remember I was reading somewhere. I still don't know how true it is, but the song Jay-Z and Kanye West did, I think it called "In Paris."
Yeah.
Like that Cray.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was so it's a thing going around 7 now. That was actually two brothers called the Cray brothers. I don't know if they were African American though.
No, they were African Americans.
Oh.
We like it. It's documented, but because of the way history has been, we don't get credit for it. So
shout out to Steve coming up with the information for us here.
Yeah,
Cray twins.
The Cray twins.
Yeah,
the Cray twins actually they.
Well, they looking kind of Italian though.
Yeah. The photos are black and white, so we can't really tell.
But yeah, anyway.
But they master flight. But because dealing with the way that the world has been to African Americans, they don't receive the credit that they're supposed to receive. So it naturally goes to the Wright brothers. But I think that was cool to find out that we took flight before the Wright brothers.
Another historical figure that I feel like doesn't get talked about as much is, I think his name is Lewis Latimer.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of Lewis Latimer?
I think he was radio.
No. So who do we accredit inventing the light bulb?
Thomas Edison.
Right. Lewis Latimer invented the filament in the light bulb to help it illuminate.
Okay.
Yes, and also on top of that too, I think he's the inventor of why we in trains, in streetcars we have bathrooms.
Mm-hmm.
So that brother right there, I think that's one brother that does not get enough credit, and that's just only not even a quarter of what he invented.
Yeah, you know who else doesn't get a lot of credit? I'm pretty sure some people may have heard him, but he's not one of the most famous black figures. Garrett A. Morgan.
Yeah.
He's responsible for the stoplight and the gas mask. So if you always wonder who made the stoplight but never stopped to look it up, Garrett A. Morgan. Initially, if you've seen like old movies, yes, it was a red and only green option. But as time went on, a red and the yellow option came just to give people time to say, hey, the light is going to turn red, and it stopped a lot of traffic accidents.
And not to change the subject a little bit, but it reminds me of this article I read on social media as well.
Mm-hmm.
Travis Kelce. I love Travis Kelce, right?
Mm-hmm.
I believe he's one of the ones that's invited to the cookout. He's cool. But I read some here that he's the one that brought the fade back into mainstream. The haircut, the fade.
Mm-hmm.
And BET, what they did was they took a couple of artists who always wore a fade. One of the ones is Nas.
Mm-hmm.
The other one I want to say, probably like Diddy in his time. In the 90s, he had like a little fade situation going on.
Didn't Slick Rick have a fade?
Yeah, Slick Rick. So I just think it's amazing that, excuse me, I just think it's amazing like some of how us as African Americans have a strong fashion sense too, of making things out of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And
you know what's funny, since you brought that up, and you know how I felt about this, when I forgot what game they were at, but all of a sudden everybody wants to know what swag surfing is.
I already know where you're going with this.
Yes, and swag surfing has been around for probably like 10, 15 years now.
It's a national anthem.
Yeah. So, and I forget, it was something else we invented, was the do-rag, but now it's called something else, and like mainstream America is just now getting hip to it.
Wait, it's another name for the do-rag?
Yeah, we've been wearing do rags for God knows how long, but now it's just because it hit mainstream America now goes by another name. I forgot what it was, but I saw it. I'm like,
Oh, I didn't know about that.
yeah.
I don't know about that. Let's see. Got synonyms for do-rag. Handkerchief, bandana. What is that? Shawl. I don't know. Oh, unless you talking about the what is it called? It's like a turban. It's a wrap turban. It's a turban wrap.
The type that Nick Cannon is always wearing.
Not that big, but it's like it has the basis of a do-rag, and then it has the knot around it.
I've seen
It's
it.
like a wave. It's a type of wave cap.
Yeah,
But yeah.
but unfortunately, African Americans have done a lot of things that they have yet to receive credit for.
Like what?
Well, I remember watching a story about if you're familiar with the TV shows All in the Family, The Jeffersons, then you know who Norman Lear is.
Yeah,
Now,
rest in power to him.
rest in power. He first of all he lived to be 100,
Oh, was it 101?
100 or 101.
Yeah.
But I can't remember the guy's name. It was a while ago when I saw it. He claims that Norman Lear never gave him credit for Good Times, for All in the Family, for the Jeffersons, and he was telling his story. And this is before Norman Lear died. Actually, this is before they did the celebration for Norman Lear's life. But he hadn't passed yet. I think he just made 100. So I thought it was interesting that he was telling all these stories or he was helping telling all these stories, giving them ideas to Norman Lear, and Norman Lear never gave him credit. That's according to his claim.
Do you remember what the name of this person?
No, I don't remember his name. I wish I did.
Because I know for Good Times, one of the characters, his name is Michael Evans.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually named after one of the producers of the show by the same name, Michael Evans. So it kind of reminds me of that, but this is my first time hearing about it. So
yeah, and but African American history is not all about the slavery and the civil rights movement and the Jim Crow era. There's a lot of things that being African American is about. It's about enjoying the things with your family, having pride in everything that we as African Americans have gone through, and yet we still rise every single time.
and then some of the barriers we have broken. Now, if we're gonna talk about Black history, we got to talk about one of my favorite people besides Jordan Hurston.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna see if you know who this person is.
Janet Jackson.
Besides Janet Jackson, even though we're gonna talk about her too, but no, besides Janet Jackson,
You got me stumped on this one.
Diane Carroll.
I love Diane Carroll.
Love Diane
I
Carroll.
love Diane Carroll.
Okay, so first of all, I love her because she was the first African American actress to star in a non-stereotypical role.
Mm-hmm.
Julia. Again, if you have not heard of Diane Carroll, you're probably too young to know who she is. I'm going to need y'all to go on Google.
Or maybe not necessarily. If you never heard of Diane Carroll, but you want to know about her, just turn to A Different World, another groundbreaking Black TV show, because she played Whitley's mother.
Yes. And she played on a few other shows, too. Somebody else's mother. I think she was on... No, she wasn't on 101. It was another show, recent show. But... she was in the 5 Heartbeats. Remember the first manager they hit, the choreographer's wife, I think.
And what's his name walked up to her talking. She was like, "Get out."
Yes.
Yeah.
She was in the 5 Heartbeats with that. Anyway, so Julia was a show based on this in the 60s or 70s, somewhere in that time period, where she played as a single mother who worked as a nurse.
Mm-hmm.
So her husband had passed away from I think he served in Vietnam or World War II, one of those, right? And it didn't show like any trauma in it. She was just a middle class working nurse who worked under I forgot his name. I forgot the doctor's name, but just showed her going through that period of trying to find work, and then she also dated again too, eventually. Just showing her interaction with her son was like very positive. So
And speaking of more positive TV, can't talk about positive TV without talking about the Cosby Show.
I
Be-
agree.
Because if you grew up on the Cosby Show, particularly in the 80s and 90s, then you were influenced by a lot of things that you probably don't even know about. I'm gonna give you an example. If you guys have ever seen me walking around or wearing flip up sunglasses, those came from Dwayne Wayne. Dwayne Wayne was on a different world we were just talking about, but a different world was created by Bill Cosby. Bill
It was
Cosby,
a spinoff of the
e-
Cosby Show
exactly.
because it was supposed to show his was Denise the middle child.
She was the
Yeah,
she was the second oldest
second oldest. So
behind Sandra,
Sandra,
Denise,
Denise, Theo,
Theo, Vanessa,
Nessa,
then
and Rudy.
Rudy,
Okay, so Denise, well, got admitted to Hillman.
a fictional HBC. Which, by the way, who wouldn't want to go to Hillman?
Yeah,
Man, I would love to have gone to
I
Hillman.
didn't get a chance to go to a HBCU,
I
but
I did for a year. It was a very good experience.
yeah, but yeah. So that was that was supposed to be the spinoff of that, showing her college experience.
Mm-hmm.
And then then it took another turn. Now we got to know Whitley and Dwayne and Jaleesa. Please, Jaleesa. Please. Colonel Taylor, Freddie. Who else am I missing here?
Walter and Mr. Gaines.
Yep.
It was a classic TV show, but it gave African Americans, particularly African Americans getting ready to go to college, a taste of what black college life looks like, and it's often credited with the rise of black students going to HBCUs, particularly during the late '80s and early '90s. And it's not just a thing then; it's a thing now because I know a lot of people who said, skip going to, the high end, most expensive colleges in the country.
Hmm.
I'm gonna go to Morehouse. I'm gonna go to Spelman. I'm gonna go to Fisk. I'm gonna go to Central State.
And I just have a cousin who's currently in Howard right now.
I have a cousin at FAMU.
Yeah, so
Shout out to Carlita Jean.
shout out to my cousin. I think it's Sarah that's in Howard right now.
I
I
actually,
got cousins everywhere.
you know what? When I was transferring schools, I actually wanted to go to Howard. That was my first choice to transfer to. My mom was like, "Nah, it's too far and it's too expensive." I'm like, "Really?"
I almost, at one point I did consider FAMU. But then I was like, let me go to the University of Miami. So I could be like, it's all about the U.
I got accepted to Jackson State. I wanted to go there too before I went to Wilberforce. Shout out to Woo. But my mom was like, it's too far. Not expensive, but too far.
I did get into the University of Miami, but I had to start. I would have had to start later, and I was in the mindset if I don't start college now, I'm never gonna go.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up going to Kansas State. So
Beyond, when you sit there and think about Black history and the things that we've accomplished in this country, we are responsible for a lot of styles and a lot of fads.
yeah. Also, to move the conversation a little bit, let's talk about Black history being made now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I said, and I'm saying this again, and I hopes that they hear this podcast. I said I always wanted to meet the brat and her wife, Jessica Harris Dupart,
Mm-hmm.
especially Judy, affectionately known as Judy. Now she is on tour now, giving knowledge about entrepreneurship, but I will want to give her flowers because I feel like this is not talked about enough. So if you're not familiar with her, she is the founder and CEO of a Kaleidoscope product. Shout out to Kaleidoscope because they just get my hair right. But
Future endorsement.
future endorsement. But also, I always wanted to tell her, to me, we have a privilege of watching her work because she's like the modern day Madam C.J. Walker, right? And you know who Madam C.J. Walker is, right? You want to tell the people
The
real
first
quick?
Black woman to be a multimillionaire.
Yes. And her industry was like in these hair care products.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just like, man. And I remember it was a Netflix series based on Madam C.J. Walker, right?
Mm-hmm.
Showing the trials and tribulations of her getting the brand jumped off. So I'm like, we got a modern day Madam C.J. Walker in our hands, and I feel like that's not talked about enough. And I think she just I think she may recently just turned and made it to her 40s too, early 40s. So that's just like impressive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then let's go to Janet Jackson real quick. Not because I'm her future hype woman and DJ and collaborative musical partner slash best friend and all the above, but she broke some barriers too.
Mm-hmm.
Rhythm Nation alone, that talked about stuff that really wasn't talked about then. Well, it was coming to the forefront.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about prejudice and racism and stuff like that. And then let's not forget about the music deal that she got with Virgin Records at the time.
Mm-hmm.
That was a groundbreaking record deal. I can't remember the exact amount, but that was record breaking. And also now she has her own record label on her own rights.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's amazing.
And you know what? You got when you look at Black history or just the things that we have done as a people, it's not something that you got to wait to be 40 or 50 years old to do. Black history was just broken maybe yesterday. You guys know we're huge Madden players.
Yes.
Shout out to Henry Leverett, 21 years old, first Madden player to ever make $1 million
from Chicago.
First Madden player to ever make $1 million playing Madden.
Like, this man is like the LeBron James of the MCS right now.
Yeah, because the games he plays, the way he plays it, nobody's ever seen.
Nobody's touching him.
But he won the MCS last night. Shout out to him, $1 million man.
You sit in front of Black History right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Black History.
We are Black History.
No, I'm Black History.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because you were the first woman in Madden to ever win in a competitive
in the MCS era.
In the MCS ever to win a competitive game.
Yeah, a lot of people forget about that.
A lot of people actually don't know.
Well, now if you don't know, now you know.
And this happened. Ironically enough, this happened in Jacksonville, but that's we passed that.
We're past that. But yeah.
But sitting here looking at Madden royalty.
Yep. And then talking about more royalty, so I was reading more because, I'm starting to rekindle my love for the WWE, right? Do you know it's only been, I think, between 5 or 6 African-American women that's held the women's championship title?
No, I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, so one most recent one was Bianca Belair. And the other one that comes to mind, too, her name is Jacqueline. And then the other one her name is Jazz. Now, Jazz and Jacqueline, they came up in our time.
Mm-hmm.
Jazz, she was the one, that was the hard body one. Like, she just, when you came into the room, you felt that presence. See, there go Bianca Belair right there.
Isn't one of them a soror?
That I'm not sure. We have to check that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty decent.
So.
Yeah, Black history is being made every day. I actually seen this on social media before, and I actually agree with it. It's a saying, being Black is dangerous, but I wouldn't trade it for any other thing.
Yeah, but I feel like Black History Month is a reminder of us that we are an amazing people.
Mm-hmm.
We are creative, we're innovative, and there's strength in our numbers.
Man.
I feel like I need to say that again. We're creative, we're innovative, and there's strength in our numbers.
Most of all, we're educated.
And we're educated. Even though sometimes the world might tear us down and, paint this picture that we always, tearing down our own neighborhoods, we don't build each other up, we don't do this, we don't do that. No.
Yeah, because we're often painted in the most negative light, but every time that we're painted in a negative light, if somebody tries to push it back down, we just rise back up again.
And we're not gonna be invited to everything. Mm-hmm. This reminds me of one of my favorite life quotes. I only have a few life quotes that always stick with me.
I think I know what you're about to say, but
I'm gonna let you say it. From Diane Carroll herself.
You have the floor.
Rest in power to that queen. One of my favorite quotes is by Diane Carroll. She said, "If you are not invited to the party, throw your own."
Mm-hmm.
And that always stuck with me because I've been in situations, I've been in a room when I have been the only Black person, and not even the only Black person, the only African-American female in there,
mm-hmm.
and I felt like I had to be silenced.
Not just trying to be silenced, but sometimes you gotta be the one that unfortunately has to be the because you're the only African American in the room, you have to be the. I'm trying to find the right.
Well, I don't want to say it, but the representation of
Exactly.
all African Americans. I'm
Exactly.
not gonna use the T word, but
Yeah.
But it just every time I think of that quote, it inspires me.
Yeah.
So.
And we can't talk about Diane Carroll without mentioning two other great actresses and actors who led the way for Black people. We are talking about Hattie McDaniel, the first lady, the first Black lady to ever win an Oscar, and we're talking about Sidney Poitier, God rest both their souls, who was the first Black man to win an Oscar.
And if we're gonna talk about them in the same breath, we cannot talk. We got to bring it to modern day. Tyler Perry. Now everybody has their different opinions about Tyler Perry, but that
Make no
is
mistake, that man is genius.
this genius, and I love and I adore him because he never forgets the past. Like they're in his studios right now. They're named after everyday heroes that inspired him, like Sidney Poitier. And I love that he has a studio room named after Whoopi Goldberg, right? And Oprah.
And you know what? You know who else we got to give credit to that a lot of people don't give credit to? And I saw the movie about him, Bill Bojangles Robinson.
Yeah. Even though you was upset with me about watching that movie.
I didn't want to watch it, but after watching it, I found it very entertaining and informative.
But we gotta give flowers to two more people.
Gregory Hines?
No.
But
more modern day.
Who?
We gotta give our flowers to the Ellises, right? Because even though we talking about the historical Black figures and what they done and stuff like that, I want to give them their flowers because they are the epitome of taking something they didn't like what they saw on TV, right? They wanted to see more of Black entertainment focused on family that's not as stereotypical light. So they just took a phone and recorded their life, right, with their boys and everything like that. And hence for us to see them and which inspired us to start this podcast. I believe that Black history is not only referencing those in the past that have paid away, but also giving flowers to those who are making a way, who are trailblazing.
I agree with that because when we met him, I told him that they inspired us to start our own podcast.
So if they listening right now,
giving you your flowers.
We're giving you your flowers.
And not just them, but everybody that we mentioned. And, I don't know if you guys can see my shirt, but...
He got everybody here. He got Maya Angelou, Thurgood Marshall,
Michelle Obama. Nelson
Mandela, Martin Luther King, Muhammad Ali,
Angela Davis,
Rosa Parks, Huey Newton.
Sojourner Truth. Shout out to Fred Brother Huey Newton. I would love to have heard Angela Davis speak. I would have loved that.
Yeah.
Shout out to Angela Davis.
To wrap this up, to end it on a note, this remind me of, was it in Do the Right Thing, I think it was Samuel, he was the radio announcer, and he named all the people, like all the historical Black figures, like Sojourner Truth, and then scratch that. He named musical heroes, right? And I feel like that's kind of what we're doing now, just like naming off this person, that person, everything like that. So we forgot about you. Don't charge our hearts, charge to our heads. But this goes out to everyone, either past, present, and future, who are making strides and making something out of nothing, who's creating Black history every day. We salute you.
And we want from the Williams, we want to say thank you. Thank you for your tireless efforts, your blood, your sweat, and your tears. It didn't go for naught because we're here today doing what we do all because of you.
And don't worry, ancestors, we're still your wildest dreams.
And we're still making more of your dreams come true.
Word.
So beautiful. You want to tell people where they can find us?
You can find us on the You Stuck With Me Facebook and the You Stuck With Me Instagram page. And also, babe, you want to tell them where they can send us sticky notes?
You guys can send us sticky notes at our email that is youstuckwithme at gmail.com. That is USTUCKWITME@gmail.com. You can send us sticky notes to our Facebook page. You can find me personally on Instagram and the app formerly known as Twitter at mine M1NE_1. And you can also find me on, well, actually, those are the only two places you can find me, babe, where they can find you.
Okay, let me see if I remember this because I haven't done this in a month and a half. You can find me on Instagram and the app formerly known as Twitter under Queen Points. That is PO1NTZ. Again, that is Queen Points, PO1NTZ. And also, if you want some more behind the scenes footage of all the ridiculousness, shenanigans, foolishness, tomfoolery, and malarkey, because we can't forget about the malarkey, on TikTok, that is Queen Points 22. Again, that is Queen Points 22. And also, in honor of Valentine's Day,
This is going to be funny.
check out my new playlist. So on this break, I've been, chefing in the studio.
So you want to tell them the name of the playlist, or you want them to see for themselves?
It's called the GTD playlist.
You
Parts 1 and 2 are out right now. You can find it on Spotify, Apple, and coming soon to YouTube.
So you want to tell them what GTD stands for? What does it stand for? Tell them what it stands for.
Got the draws, man.
And you guys, don't forget, you can find us on YouTube.
All right, this is your one and only and favorite Taylor.
And this is your boy Marquis.
And remember, you stuck. You stuck with us.
We out, y'all.
Hey, remember to like, rate, and subscribe and follow. Hey, come back.
Remember, like she said, you stuck with us.
Peace.
Later.